Hey everybody, it's Angela back with another quick process video, and I have this made from scratch Echo Park kit that I'm going to scrap with today. And I was originally going to just try to stay with the kit, but it doesn't work out. I have to break out, and you'll see as I look through here, there's just no quiet kind of papers in here. They're all pretty bold, and I'm just not very comfortable with bold prints for my backgrounds. I need to work with it more, but I had kind of a busy bold photo, so I just didn't want to try that in this particular case. So I'm looking through trying to find something to use as a background paper. I'm thinking maybe that yellow, but I didn't really want yellow as my full background. And I'm also looking through, I have just those stickers, and then I want to save the cut apart sheets for embellishments. And so that knife, fork, and spoon one is about one of the quieter, more white pieces of paper in there, but it's still pretty busy. And then that yellow piece of paper has a plaid on the back that I don't care for. So I decide to gut the yellow piece of paper and use it for a mat for my photo, and then also as a mat for my layout. And here's the yellow piece. And so I like the yellow, and so I go ahead and just use it for the matting. And that way it'll kind of give a break between whatever I use for my background paper and this photo, which is a series of 9 photos that I put together in Adobe, and it has 9 different soups, stews, and chilies that I've made. And I do quite a lot of cooking, pretty much everything from scratch, and so soups and stews are really easy. And oh, here you can see I had to go to that crepe paper line to get a piece of white paper to use for my background. But anyhow, so I make a lot of soups, stews, and chilies for my family, and they really love it. And so I just wanted to document that, since it's a big part. I mean, cooking is a big part of my life. It's not my most favorite thing to do, but I don't mind it, and I'm getting more and more comfortable with it as I get more and more experienced with cooking. When I got married, I didn't really do much cooking, because I just was a single girl, and yeah, just didn't pay too much attention to it. And so after I got married, I kind of had to learn how to do it. And now I'm sort of enjoying it. So I wanted to just go ahead and do this layout. And I'm looking through the cut apart sheets, and they have a lot of cute little images. I really love the collection. It's just that they don't have very many quiet, plain papers in it. So I did have to go into my stash for that, which is no problem. And now I'm just looking for ones that have to do more with cooking and not baking. And so I want to do a couple border strips across. And I'm looking through, I kind of like, at first I was like, I don't want to use these chickens because it wasn't a dish with chickens in it. But then I saw one of the recipe cards that said made from scratch, and it had the chickens, scratching underneath. So I thought that was kind of a cute play on words. So I thought about maybe using that recipe card and then the border strip with the chickens on it, but that doesn't work out. So now I'm going through looking for something to kind of anchor this photo on. And so at first I think the green, but the green's just too light. It needs something a little more bold. So I go with this strip of orange. And at this point, I'm still thinking of using those chickens on there. But then I decide that, I like it better just without the chickens. And then I saw on the back of that label sheet, there's some, an even bolder orange. So later I'll go back and try a strip of that, but I actually like the one sitting there right there that better. So I do wind up using that eventually. I was pretty wishy-washy with this layout actually, but it comes together. So I go back to that original piece. So I go ahead and put that down, and I like all the spices on there because those are spices I use in the soups and stews. And now I'm just trying to figure out how I can put some of these cut apart sheets and how I want to do it, because I really have no idea going into this layout. I had nothing in my mind at all as far as layout, so I'm just kind of working with the products themselves. So I do like that recipe card, so I kind of want to keep that on there. And I'm thinking that maybe I'd do my journaling on it. I don't wind up journaling on it, but at this point I'm thinking I could journal. And then I go ahead and I start edging my pieces with a little bit of this vintage photo. And I go ahead and put down this one, I'm sorry it's off screen, I think it just says homemade. And then I trim the recipe card, and I'm going to put that up there so that all the kitchen utensils still show above the mat. And I was kind of glad that I had used glue stick for this, because I forgot to edge it in vintage photo, so I was able to kind of pull it back up and do some inking around the edge. So now I just kind of glue that back down. I ink around my photo mat. And then this last item I'm going to put up on foam tape just to give a little dimension. So I'm thinking there is kind of how it's going to go. So I go ahead and I put my photo down, and I put my adhesive in a little bit in case I want to tuck something else under the edge of that. So there you can still see the little illustrations on the recipe card, and you can still see, you know, the spices and stuff on there. And so that's kind of what I have at the moment. And so now I'm looking through the sticker sheet to see, you know, what else I can use and where I could place it. But I have a hard time clustering on this. There's just no real good spot, or the sizes aren't quite right. So I find these little word fragments and I put those there, and they move around a couple times. So I put them there for now, and I'm looking at that fork and spoon, and that still doesn't work. And like I said, there just wasn't any real good spot to cluster anything. So I move on to my title, and I'm going to use the letter stickers that come with the collection, because like I said, I'm trying to stay with this collection pack, even though I did have to pull the background paper from my stash. I'm going to entitle it Soup Kitchen. So I'm thinking about first maybe putting on that recipe card, then in the blank space below. And so I move this over to kind of see how long of a word it's going to be, because it's kind of long. So it's going to have to overlap my photo somewhere. So then I think about putting it on the border strip. I think about putting it below the border strip. And then I think, well, what about just putting it right on the photo? And that's not something I do very often, so I thought I'd go ahead and give it a try just to change stuff up. And since, you know, there's not like any faces or anything in this photo, so it's okay to cover parts of it up. You can still tell what it is. And kitchen fits perfectly across there, so I go ahead and go with that, and it keeps my title kind of in that diagonal line. But now that I put kitchen there, my thing I put up on pop dots doesn't quite fit very well there anymore. So I think, well, maybe I'll go with some other embellishments and save that popped up piece for a different layout. So now I'm moving these because it needs some color over on that left and to help continue that diagonal line. So now I go back to the sticker sheet looking for more things I could put on there. And they have this tab that says soups and salads, I think. So I go ahead and I just use one side of it and put that on there. And then I'm looking through all the stickers, still trying to find stuff that will go, and I'm just really having a time. I like that little heart sticker, so I put that down. It kind of connects all that stuff down there together. And then I think about using that carrot because it's something I use in soups quite a bit, but it's just kind of small and it doesn't really cluster with anything. So then I find on the other sticker sheet these bowls, and I really do like them, you know, because the soup and bowls seem to work. But it just doesn't look right until I see there. So it's like, here go these little stickers again. I'm going to just pull them off, and then I'm going to put the bowls up here. And actually, when the manufacturer cut those stickers out, they kind of left a little bit of a different color edge on there. They didn't cut them exactly right. So I just go and trim off the ends. And again, that helps keep that diagonal line, and it brings some color up there. So I'm liking that, and I decide to go ahead and mount it on the rest of that yellow paper that I cut out and used for the photo mat. And then when I turn it back over, it still looks pretty flat, and I'm like, you know, I have no dimension because this is a kit, and I'd taken off my foam tape item that I had popped up, and I'm like, there's just no dimension to this. So I break down and go back to my stash and outside of the kit, and I do my go-to thing, which is flowers, because you know, flowers go with everything. And so I've been digging through my stash. I've been really good. I find these flowers from Sassafras, who is no longer in business, and I think they're from like 2009, which isn't too old as compared to some of the stash I've been using lately. And so I just sprinkle those along that diagonal line and use up the whole pack. And so I was pretty happy that that I used that whole thing up, got something else out of my stash, and I think they look really cute on there, and they give just that little bit of dimension to make it pop up. And so now I go ahead and I do some journaling there, and then I decide to do most of my journaling right here in this block, kind of keeping in that diagonal line. And then I'll go ahead and I'll make another journaling block down below the border, just listing out some of the soups and stews that are in the photo. So I do that journaling, just talking about how much I enjoy doing soups and stews, how easy they are, and they feed a lot of people, and it's just a real comfort food. And so now I'm just going through listing down some of the different items that are in the photo. And then I pretty much think I'm done at this point, but I go ahead and over by on that homemade, I put by Angela down at the bottom of that. And then I consider this layout done. It was fun using that kit. I really do like this Echo Park kit, and I was glad to, you know, scrapbook all these photos of all this wonderful food that I prepared, and everyone seems to enjoy. So this is another one for my kitchen cooking recipe album that I've been kind of building slowly off and on. And so that is my finished layout. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or anything, just leave me a comment below, and I will talk to you later. Bye.